Welcome to the Speak with People podcast, where we believe that healthy communication is the key to unlocking your leadership potential. We are the go-to resource for leaders looking to greatly improve their communication skills, whether it's one-on-one interactions, team settings, public speaking, or digital communication. By improving these skills, leaders can create stronger connections and drive positive change within their organizations. Each and every episode, we sit down with experts from various fields from around the world, just like you're grabbing a coffee with them, to dive into real, practical conversations. Our goal is to help you transform your communication skills so you can lead more effectively, build stronger relationships, and make a lasting impact. So go grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's learn together. Well, how do you stand out in a crowded world where everyone is fighting for attention? Especially those of us who are speakers. Maybe you are currently a full-time speaker. Maybe you're a part-time speaker. Maybe you're listening to this podcast and you've been dreaming about it for a while. You're tired of attending regional conference after regional conference and saying to yourself, someday I'm going to be up front speaking. Well, here's the reality. People aren't going to see you if you don't have video, and video is no longer optional in this world. Well, welcome to today's podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. Today, we're going to dive in to the power of personal branding through video, how you can start to make some success with your speaking with the power of video. And we're going to talk to an expert who I have followed for a very long time. Every week I get his emails. I love his website, love his posts on LinkedIn. I've learned an absolute ton. And Cam, I can't wait to have you on this podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to have Cam with us today. He runs an incredible uh, education of teaching us speakers, of us entrepreneurs and leaders, how we can do a better job with video. I went to actually his website yesterday and learned about 15 things that I thought, okay, I got to put these into place. I'll stop talking. I'll welcome our guest. Cam, welcome to the Speak with People podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I love talking about this topic, and I know we're going to get into it a little bit more. But this whole idea of the halo effect, and maybe I'll tease people with that, like this halo effect of what we need to do around us, or surround ourselves with. I just find the most powerful thing is video. But really, when people search you up, like what do they find? Are they finding cat videos from 15 years ago, back when YouTube was a thing? Like and if that's what people are finding, that does not help you in any way as a speaker to grow this thing we call a personal brand. So I'll pause there because I know we probably got a lot of questions.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, before we hop into the conversation, tell us a little bit more about your journey, who you are, what you do, what kind of led you to this place. Where did you start with your speaking? Where are you now? How did you get to this place where now you're helping speakers be seen, be heard, all that kind
Sure,
of stuff?
sure. So I'm a super nerd. I mean, I've always been in computers, built computers, but in my 20s I was traveling, so I never really got to school even like that. But after I got serious around 29, I'm like, I'm going to go learn how to code. That led to a job at IBM. And when I joined, they were like, okay, nobody wants to do this thing called digital accessibility. Making websites usable by people with disabilities is like, we don't understand this thing. So they literally handed me this stack of papers, which was the guidelines. It's called the WCAG. We don't need to go too deep into what that is, or it'll put you to sleep. I promise you it will. But I became this internal expert at IBM on this document. So all of a sudden, I was being pulled in to do like coaching and training and teaching and learning, and like I ran the accessibility practice for IBM Canada. So I became the subject matter expert on this topic inside our office and the region and things like that. So IBM started to send me out to conferences to go and speak about accessibility because that was part of their thought leadership programs. And for a company to go and send somebody out to a tech conference or something like that to go speak at a breakout room, I mean, I didn't get paid by the conference, but I did get paid by IBM, so I was getting paid to go speak through the company. That was a lot of fun, and it's funny because I say I was a super nerd. I was a developer as well during this whole time of learning how to do and run business projects and things like that. But if you saw me back then, it was like, okay, who is going to do the demo for the client? Like they're looking around, and if you can put in your mind what a developer is usually doing, they're usually like, well, not me, but there's Cam. Me, I'll do it. Like, it put me in the center of attention. And I think that, a lot of speakers, we kind of, this is a similar story. Like I've spoken to so many speakers. They're like, what's that old adage, right? Like people are more afraid of being on stage than in the coffin, right? Like they're
Mm.
saying the eulogy than being the one in the coffin. And like, but this common thread of you're an attention seeker. You don't mind being in the limelight. You want to be the center of attention. You don't mind like picking up a microphone and risking something that a lot of people feel very nervous about, like making a fool of yourself in front of other people. This is like a threat of nobody likes that, but it you're brave enough to go and do it, right?
Yep.
I was handed a microphone the other day, and I haven't really spoken in a long time, like up on stage. But it just came back so naturally. I was like, I'm just going to go up there, talk on the mic, and hand it back. And I felt like a fool afterwards. But then I watched the video. I'm like, hey, I spoke. No one cares. It's fine. It's
Yep.
all good. So, it's one of those fears that is a little bit irrational. That we have we have this ability to just like roll with it. Like it doesn't matter. Like get up on stage and go do it. So I was able to during COVID though. This is post IBM. I decided, okay, I'm going to go actually learn how to speak. And every single person that was in this cohort, I went through the a program called the Speaker Lab. And Speaker Lab, they walk you through to a certain point. Then in like module 5 or 7 or something like that, they say, okay, go get a demo reel. And everyone else, like everyone fell apart. Like it was like everyone's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Then boom, we hit this wall, and we were all faced with the problems of technology. Now, me being the tech guy, I always was. I said like, this is a this is a problem I can go and solve. Like this is a problem that everybody else has. Like we were 10, and 9 out of the 10 people, excluding myself, were all like CEOs and financial people and or like speakers of years and years. They just wanted some more formality into their program, into what they were doing, and everyone was afraid of the tech. No one knew how to go and resolve this, or who to go talk to, how to hire someone on Upwork, and everyone's quite fearful of the language around, you know, like what I don't know how to hire a videographer with two 4K cameras. They're going to screw me over. It's kind of like when you bring your car to a mechanic, right? You just trust that the person
Right.
who's working on your car is not trying to like replace parts that aren't supposed to be there. So there's that fear in there as well. But I spoke that language, and so I was able to just go in and say, well, everybody, if you want, like I can work on your demo reel for you, and let's see what happens. And it worked. Like and that became a business out of that. So I still I want to get back to speaking one day, but I'm so entrenched in doing videos and video
Yep.
branding for public speakers. This is, I think, the calling. Because if I can help speakers, and this sounds so altruistic, but really, what if I can help speakers 1% to get more gigs or ask for more money, really, what we're doing is we're talking about multiplying. Um, like world changers, right?
Oh
Speakers are world
yeah.
changers in some way. So if I can help them by one, I'm sure you feel the same way as well, right? If you can help people with a good message or a great message go and change the world in one little way, then I can their success is us by a small part by efforts that we help them with. So anyway, that's a little bit of me and my
I
background.
love it. I love it. Oh, you think about the multiplication though. I mean, I watched through yesterday, you've got that fantastic page with all of the different speakers reels, and one after the other was like, holy cow. Like this is powerful. I mean, these people are out there like inspiring, challenging, and so being a part of that, that's huge. It's just absolutely huge.
Well, right, and and like the way I thought about it, and I just came back from a large conference where they talked about this, and the it was funnel hacking live for anyone in the audience who is a marketing nerd. Like I find that that's where I really I find my people in marketing conferences. It's so funny because that's really what is branding. Like what is branding? What is a demo reel? It's marketing, and
Yep.
one thing I talk about a lot is that a lot of speakers they treat their speaking career like a hobby, and as soon as you start to think of it more like a business,
Wow.
everything changes. Everything changes, and like the way you think about it, the way you treat it is very like is a lot different. And you got to start thinking about it like that. I really believe that that's really what it takes to make it big in the speaking world. Um, but yeah, the demo reel is like it's the pre-sale to whatever you want to go do next. Right. If you like it gets the attention of people. It shows it's one of those signals that demonstrates that like, hey, I'm serious about what I want to do here. Like this is a real thing for me, and I want to go change the world. Of like one of the speakers I worked with, she's a really amazing person. She used to own a financial like a financial firm. Like she used to help people with their investments and things like that. After she exited, she then found herself on lots of media appearances. She's like the expert that gets called into breakfast television to talk about finances, and really she wants to talk about women wealth leadership, because there's a lot of women out there who reach a certain age and their husband passes away, they become widows, and they end up with a bunch of money. They don't know how to manage it because they were never the person to either manage the money, own the money, run the money. They don't know how to open up the bank account. And all of a sudden she's like, that's the mission, to go change that. And so it's like, if I can help her 1%, like that is inspiring to me to keep moving forward. Like, how can I help that? So anyway,
I
that's what it's
love
all
it.
about.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, the struggle probably you have too is I mean, it's probably scary that as you look in the future, video's kind of going away. I mean, people just aren't interested anymore about watching video. They're they're not addicted to the reels that they're seeing. I mean, it's just probably tomorrow people are going to lose interest.
Sure. That's exactly
Yeah,
what's going to happen, right? Right. I don't know where like TikTok's been. Like, I'm sure you're still using a flip phone with statements like that, right?
right. Well,
Yeah.
it hit me yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm on the older side, so 93. I'm a senior in high school. And if I could go back and tell, 18-year-old or 17-year-old Jason, like someday you will be so addicted to a device
Yep.
and you'll watch 7-minute, videos and 30-second videos and 1-minute video. And it's just fascinating where the world
Hmm.
is headed with all of that kind of stuff. So let's just jump right into it. Why
Yep.
why is video no longer an option then when it comes to personal branding and leadership? Because there
Okay.
are, I mean, still some speakers. I coach quite a few of them. They use all the excuses of like, well, I don't really have any good video. Well, I
Yep.
don't even have. But how do we just help them get over that first
Sure.
roadblock?
Yeah. So number one, it's all about show don't tell, right? You can write up a great speaker abstract, and you can go and write emails if you want to go speak at an event. But really, when you're playing the game under $5,000 for a speaking fee, then like everyone's playing that game of just send out a bunch of emails. Can you imagine what would be like if you were to send a video to a speaker, to an event planner? How does that make you stand out? Well, all of a sudden, you're no longer just another text email. You're all of a sudden a text email plus a video to demonstrate who you are. Now, if you think about like, let's talk about marketing for a second here. Anyone who's at least a little bit familiar with marketing is thinking of like friction, right? Every time you need to click a link and go somewhere else is a piece of friction. So if what you're doing, put yourself in the mindset of an event planner who's booking an event under 5,000. Let's talk about this. Sorry, under $5,000 per gig. They've got a little budget, something like that. And believe me, under $5,000 is a small budget. You get a bunch of, okay, you shortlisted it to kind of like 10 people, kind of thing like that. If you're all of a sudden forcing somebody to be like, okay, now I got to go open up YouTube. Now I got to have to go and search someone's, who is this person? Jason. Okay. Like, how do I spell his last name? Like, all of a sudden, this is all friction that's going on in the mind of somebody who may not have, like, this may not be their full-time gig. This may not be their full-time job to book speakers. And so they're just planning stuff.
Yep.
Or even if you're going to go speak at a corporation, you want to go speak to HR professionals or something like that. All of a sudden, the director of HR, who has another job and is now tasked to bring in a speaker for some lunch and learn, you know, you're just putting friction in front of somebody when you're only sending some text, and they're now trying to base off everything off of, you know, this 3 paragraph speaker abstract that you sent in. Parallel that with even something like a simple face to camera video saying like, hi, I'm Cam. I speak on this. This is the problem that I solve, and I want to come help your audience talk about this, right? That all of a sudden is putting you one step above, right? That's it. So you're asking questions about how do we get over some of the frustrations and the fear of that. So very simple, very, very simple. You didn't learn to drive in one day either, right?
Mm.
This is the biggest fear everyone has around video, like just pressing the red button and shooting and then posting it. The big thing I want to say is like no one's watching it anyway. If you're an unknown and you post some videos online, you're still unknown. So you're not it's just like getting in front of your very first audience, right? Your small your core group of people at work that you're giving some presentation to during a lunch and learn, that's not giving a forum of in front of a forum of 5,000. And neither would you put somebody who's never spoken before in front of a group of 5,000 people.
Yep.
That would be insane. So everybody starts small. Everyone is afraid of is afraid of the red button when you press and you start to record. So you only learn through doing the reps. You only learn through trying it, posting it, and failing and getting 0 views and 0 likes. And there's a couple of there's a bit of structure I can talk about in a moment around how to
Absolutely.
structure your videos.
Yeah, I love that. Question, just about the video, and then I'm sure we'll get to this in the conversation, but it doesn't stop with one video, right? Like,
Right.
talk to us about, kind of our overall video philosophy, because I
Sure.
think sometimes we think I just got to do one video demo reel and then I'm done, but that's probably
Yeah.
not the case.
Let's talk about all of it. So I really have
Okay.
3 steps that I like to bring people through, usually when they work with me or uh, it makes sense. Okay, so number one, you have to have a very clear like brand messaging strategy, because if you don't know who to help, if you don't know what the problem that you're solving, then it's going to be hard to do everything else. I don't know how else to explain like the gravity of it. In fact, I've stopped projects. People have given me money. I want to build this, and I've been like, I cannot work any further until we figured this out. Like, because if I
Yep.
can't tell my wife during dinner, it's like, hey, I'm now working with a speaker who's doing this. And if that this is like, if I can't say that in 2 minutes, like, they kind of talk about this and they kind of help these types of people. Like, I cannot make a video for you that's going to be effective. It's going to be all over the place. Let me give you an example. I was working with a speaker, and she's a government secret agent, and I say that because she never told me the government agency that she worked with, but she is a high stakes interrogator for the U.S. government. Really cool. She like interviewed and interrogated like cannibals and stuff like this. So
Wow.
her talks were about really really cool. She the few stories I heard were pretty interesting. Very cool. Um, One topic that she spoke about was like high stakes negotiation. Another one was like advanced body language reading techniques, and the last one was escape planning. And I'm like, one of those things is not like the other. And like, where's the Venn diagram that we kind of put everything together? And like that was a turning point in my business when I started to say, like, look, uh, we have to go forward with one. We cannot tell the story of three. Like it doesn't make any sense. So one question I get asked a lot is, do I need one demo reel per talk? No. You need a demo reel about you. Like the whole thing is about
Mm,
you. You
yep.
want to leave, you want to like raise your authority to the level where it doesn't matter what you're talking about. So people are like, oh my God, Jason, I've watched your reel. You look so cool. You've got like lots of credentials. I can't wait to hear more about what, like, a general thing you talk about. Tell me how you can help my audience solve a problem. Like that's the point you want to get to. In addition to that, though, there is that whole idea of the halo effect. So the halo effect, I use that term of, so halo effect comes from, we trust people that we see all the time. It's a natural phenomenon. That's why brands associate themselves with celebrities. That's why the attractive and popular kids in school seem to get just like the most success. They just like get the most opportunities.
Yep.
Why is this person like that? It's a natural phenomenon. That which we see most often, we trust.
Wow.
Just how it works. Just how it works. So how do you do that? How many times has it ever happened to you where somebody has said, "Oh my God, Jason, you are all over my feed." Has that ever happened to you? And
Yep.
that's the goal, omnipresence. Whenever somebody opens up, because what the algorithms are telling are trained to do is to find um, find videos and content that we want to watch. So whenever you say like, "Oh, the algorithm is against me, I'm being shadow banned," that's actually not real. What it really is that your content just isn't focused enough for your right audience. So what we want to get to is the point of where you're always talking about the same thing, where you're communicating the same message, you're attracting the right types of people to you. And like I've had it before where, I go to a speakers conference and they're like, "Oh my God, can I follow you?" And you're just now everywhere on my feed. And it's like, cool. The leads that come in to my pipeline from being effective on social media and just using video, uh, like destroy my week because I just get so many people on my inbound that like I can't create content anymore because like my calendar is full. So we can talk about business a little bit afterwards because that's always a fun thing to talk about. But that's the benefits of creating this halo effect. So that's it. So number one is super clear on
Wow.
brand messaging. Number two is I create that halo effect, and then after that, we're talking about demo reels and very specific content. So ask away.
Wow. No, that's absolutely fantastic. Going back to your number one, like the clear messaging. I mean, I struggled for a long time because yeah, like many speakers, I wanted to speak
Hmm.
to everyone and speak about everything. I love leadership. I love this. I love this. I love this. I want to communicate about this. Speak, it's amazing what happens when you get clearer and clearer and niche down more. The doors that start to open and people go, oh yeah, that's what they do. It's
But it's only through reps that you can figure that out,
yeah.
right? It's like we were just talking about just a bit before pre-show here. It's like you cannot figure that. You don't have enough data to figure that out at the beginning, and that's just
Yep.
how it is, right? So,
Yep.
and the only way to get through it is to go just do more, right? To
Yep.
figure out who is really resonating with you. Going back to the example of that woman who is the secret agent, she found that the people who want to hire her to speak most are attorneys because who needs high stakes negotiation more than attorneys, right? So now she's good. That's who she speaks to. She speaks to lawyers and attorneys and high performing sales teams, because that's who wants to bring her in more. You cannot figure that out if you've never gone and given a talk before. Like, you cannot
Yep.
figure that. You must go through the reps and the discomfort of, I'm still trying to figure this out, to be able to get to that point where you can say that, like, that's my audience changes every 6 months. Not drastically. I'm not going from like an audience of speakers to basket weavers. Like, that's not the audience shift. But it's
Right.
like, I
Right.
started saying I speak to all speakers. Then it was like, I want to speak to professional speakers. And then it's narrowing down to, I talk to speakers who are looking for $10,000 gigs or more. But like, that step-by-step only happened because I do stuff like this and I post online. I'm
Yep.
hearing who listens to me. That's the work. That is the work.
Yeah. And we could do a whole other episode because your marketing and funnel is phenomenal. Like you had me, way before hello, to quote Jerry Maguire. I can't
But
remember when I saw you the first time, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I mean, it was just like this is how it worked. It was beautiful. So when it comes to our demo reels as speakers, do we have to have? We kind of talked about it earlier, but do we have one for event managers of conferences? Do we have one for companies? Is it no? You create. Do we have a short one, a long one? Walk us through, like, what's the most important asset?
sure. So remember, the most important, like, asset is you, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're trying to create your own, like the demo reel is about you as a mentor, as a leader, as a guide. So if we remember the hero's journey, right? So what happens? For anyone who doesn't know, the hero's journey kind of goes uh, status quo, the situation's there, and then boom, something happens. Think, Frodo all of a sudden gets the ring. Luke Skywalker learns that his parents died. Like, there's something that happens, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, then the journey starts. The journey begins. Frodo has to leave the Shire. Luke Skywalker is going to go seek a mentor. And who do they find? They find Gandalf. They find the leaders in the world. And that's you. Now, one thing a lot of people get wrong is they start talking about themselves at the beginning. The
Mm,
only people at the beginning of the story is the hero. So if you are the hero, why would anyone listen to you? The hero is the weakest person in the journey. They are on the path of
yep.
discovery. You are there as the guide. So what you need to do is place the audience in the space of the hero. They are the heroes of their story. They are the people who are seeking to guide you. So the biggest problem I see with all demo reels out there is that they start talking about themselves way too often, way too soon.
Yeah.
So you got to start with the big hook, something that's like really like bang, and that's either like the punchline to a story, or that's and that's how I ascended Everest with a quarter of a lung. Like, what's going on? You want to learn more about that, or that's why you're saying like 1 in 5 people in the world have a disability. We're like, whoa,
Yeah.
that's a huge statistic, right? You got to start with something like that. Then you're building authority. You're talking about your credentials, not you. Sorry, people are talking about your credentials. You're throwing up logos. You're kind of getting into the meat of like, why am I listening to you? What's this? And in that process, you are defining the problem that you help solve. Now, going back to the question earlier, where you talked about, where you asked about, um, is this about like the talk? Is it like, do we need different demo reels for different talks that we have? Or like, what's this about? Like, no, this is where you, as the thought leader, as the authority, you present the problem that an audience might have. So, like, for example, let's go back to the example of the speaker who's there. What she's doing is she's presenting the problem of the audience. Are there problems with high stakes negotiations? What's the problem there that people are facing? Why would
Yep.
why would an audience want to listen? Then, after all you've done that, then you present yourself in that story as the guide, and you talk about the transformations. You talk about you add testimonials, or you talk about your 5-step process, things like that. That is the structure. That is the structure of what humans have been listening to for the past, thousands, and since recorded history. We have, met like a lot of stories around that follow that basic structure. So that is what we do for demos, because that is what's going to create attention, and that's what's going to get you booked.
I love it. I love it. I coach a lot of younger speakers, and I was with one at a conference in the fall. Great. Like, they've had incredible business success. They're great. But the first 30 minutes of their talk was about them. I mean, they did not stop talking about themselves. Same thing like you just talked about with their demo reel. They go right into
Hmm.
it. 4 time,
Yep.
3 this. And I was like, oh, like
I don't
people
even
are
know
gonna,
who you are. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I don't,
like,
I don't care about you yet, right? Like,
right.
let's go back to think. Let's use the Lord of the Rings example. What do we have in the first? Well, I mean, if you're watching the full extended cut 9 hours edition of Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
what do you get at the beginning? You get the who is Gandalf? Like, why is he an authority? He can do like, oh, he has magical powers. He's never really there. He's kind of like he comes to the Shire sometimes and then leaves. Like he is this mysterious mythical figure until he comes back, later on in the story and summon. Well, I mean, I don't know how much of a nerd you or your listeners are. He summons like horses out of the river, and like you really see his power appear. So, okay, like we don't know enough about him until he really presents himself with the
Yeah.
powers that he has, and that's the position that we on stage need to be in. We're not taking the vulnerable position of someone like the hero. I'm not learning from the audience. I am giving the audience something to listen to, and I'm giving them everything. So that's the position we need to be in.
I love that. What about first timers who may not have much video of them in front of people yet?
So,
They don't quite have it
mhm.
yet.
So, yeah, what event planners want to see these days is like audience interaction and being in front. So I'm working with a speaker right now. She's a very, very new speaker. So she went and staged it. So what she did is she reached out to, like, I'm a big believer in opportunity everywhere. And if you're not looking for if you say you can't find opportunities to speak, then you got to get a little bit more creative as to where to find them.
Yep.
There's it. Let's say a speaker wants to go speak at corporate finance, corporate banking, something like that. How many banks are there in your local area who may possibly want someone to come in and do a lunch and learn for free? Oh my God, for free, but I want to get paid to do it. Like, hold up. You're a brand new speaker yet. You don't have clout. You don't have enough
Yes.
stuff. So what you do is you present that as the takeaway. It's like, hi, branch manager, hi, bank manager, hi, whatever. I'd love to come in, like I teach on whatever AI for tech. I'm looking for an audience in your sector. I would love to come give a lunch and learn if it's of interest to you. All I want to know is if I'm allowed to record it. Okay, so you present the idea. What's the problem again? So the problem is that your bank is not using AI the way it should be. We could be like saving money. You present the problem and say, "Would you be interested in getting this lunch and learn?" All I want to do is be able to record it. And if you make 50 calls and oh my God, yeah, you got to do 50, you're going to get one or two back, and you're going to go be able
Yep.
to record those sessions and create that content. If it's your very first reel, you're not expected to have big audiences. You're not expected to have that. And I would say the people who struggle with that the most are people who've already been like VP of or CEO of a company and now they're retiring. And they struggle with the most because they're going from this like high in their career
Yep.
down to, oh, okay, now I'm back to like, you know, doing the beat cop kind of thing, like going and
Yeah.
finding leads. Anyway, um, so then what we normally do is we'll go and rent a studio and actually do like a full interview with somebody as well, and that creates some really great content because when you get someone, you know, when we're talking about signals, it's when you show up to a conference in a suit versus show up to a conference in baggy pants, like in like jeans and a t-shirt, there's a different like status that kind of happens, right? So when you can show that you've invested in your speaking career, when you show that you've invested in a course or training or something like that comes across in the back of someone's mind, like, oh, like I'm seeing a professional studio and I'm seeing an interview and I'm seeing something like that. Like, even though it's not on stage, it's
Yep.
still communicating to somebody like, okay, this person's serious here. Like,
Yep.
I'll give you an example. I went to a conference once. Um, it was yet another marketing conference, and you go in there and it was at a hotel, of course, and the key cards were branded. The folding things where you get the key card were branded. There were banners everywhere. They did like a takeover of the entire hotel lobby only for that conference. And it was like there was like 500 people there. But what that communicated was this person is serious.
Mm.
Parallel that to another conference you go to and you're like looking for the entrance. There's like one little sign. They're like, go move ahead. It just has a different
Yep.
feel to it. And there's just like it just communicates that, okay, the organizers are not serious or like this is their side gig or their side hustle. If you want to like move up in the world, you've got to start investing in these little signals that we just think of in the back of our minds.
Wow. Uh, yeah, I don't even know where to where to chime in because you just gave us a master class on so many things. One of the things you did say though, you talked about doing stuff for free. Like, oh my gosh, people who complain about, doing free stuff. I'm like, you're maybe you're not getting those gigs because you're not saying yes enough. Like,
Yep.
there's this thing out there that people are like, well, I'm only going to say yes if it's in the perfect parameters. I mean, you need reps. Like, it doesn't matter
Yep.
if it's a Rotary Club, do whatever. And then you said something else, which was make 50 calls to get to lunch and learn. Whoa,
Hmm.
50 calls? When was the last time we actually did that many calls? Because I talk to speakers all the time and they're like, yeah, I called 3 and nobody was interested. Well,
Yeah.
47 more to go, you know?
Well, right. Like, look, here's a realization that I think everyone has to understand. Like, maybe you suck. Maybe you do.
Yeah.
And it's because you haven't had those reps. And that's a hard thing for, I think, a lot of people to swallow because we're very good at our jobs. We're very good at taking care of our families. And then all of a sudden there's this new thing, entrepreneurship and business, which comes along and we're really passionate about. Passion doesn't lead to dollars. It's like, it's the reps that do. And I'm not like, I'm not the only one who says this. Like maybe it's okay to suck at the beginning, just like you did with everything else. Maybe this isn't supposed to be the thing that it just comes so naturally to you. So
Wow.
let me do a quick parallel here. So I have a team of lead setters for my business, and we put out 400 outbound messages every single week. It's like, and that's what we need to do to get the amount of business to go and like, that's the reality. Alex Ramosi, one of my favorite like marketers slash business people on the planet, like he puts out 350 pieces of content every single week. Like
Right.
that's the game to play. It's the game of volume, and through volume you get good at what you do. So when people say I'm not going to go and say yes to something unless it's this perfect situation, it's you're you you pick the speed of business. You pick your speed. And if you want to move slow, then you only say yes to a few things. And that's fine. Like there's no one's like no one, you move at the speed that you want. You're only up against yourself. But you pick the speed at which you want to accelerate. So if you want to move fast, you got to do more. And you figure out through doing the reps that you don't need to customize an email every single time. You figure that finding better quality leads instead of just sending it to these lists of, dear CEO of Coca-Cola, he's not going to respond. I guarantee you, like it's just not going to happen. But if
Right.
maybe you liked a few posts of the director of marketing at Coca-Cola, then you sent them a DM saying, I really loved what you got here. Or like, I really loved the post that you did about company culture. That was really cool. And then maybe you continued following and made a real friend first, and then sent a DM afterwards saying, hey, I'm a speaker and I think I've got something of value. You talked about this on your previous post. Would it be possible if we could just get on a call and I could learn a little bit more about what goes on inside, who would say no to that? Especially
Right.
after you start to build a friendship. Like we expect so much. We expect that the first time we do something, we're going to win at it because we're 45 and we've been successful our whole career. Like there is nothing that says you ought to be successful the first time you do something, and that's
Yeah.
the big reality that I think a lot of people who are just dipping their toe into this whole idea of like getting famous. Like, how many artists or bands or performers are there out there who never make it to Vegas who want to get there? Like, are you serious? There's so many out there.
Yep.
So and this is a journey that we all learn through beats over time. That uh, speakers are performers, and to get to the high level, if you want to make 15, 20, 30, $25,000 per speaking gig, you got to just get out there more. It's just in marketing and
Yep.
advertising and speaking and all of it. You just got to get out there more.
Wow. Yeah, we've talked about it many, many times on the podcast, but so many speakers just, and I was there, you put up a website and you're like, okay, the phone's going to ring.
Hmm.
And yeah, over time, the phone will ring when you're, doing all of those things the right way. But we think sometimes, boy, I'm just, the phone is just going to magically ring. Yes, maybe it will if you climbed Everest with, a partial lung, and now that story was all over the news and everybody wants to hear you. But you have to be out there. So real practically, then. So I'm putting together this reel. You've talked about a couple of the elements. Is there anything else I need to make sure that's in there so the event planner goes, okay, I'm intrigued now. You talked about audience participation, talked about maybe some interview stuff, setting up the problem, all that kind of stuff. How do I close out the video so it, has a strong, call to action, get them to
Sure,
call
sure.
you, all that.
So I'm just going to reinforce one more time. You have to define the problem really well. Like, what are you there to solve? So like, I know I said that already, and you just said it yourself, but like, I want to make it clear to everyone who's
Yes.
listening. If you don't have a very clear problem, then almost doesn't matter what's after it, because how many videos have you ever watched on YouTube, whatever? You're like, I don't know what I just like. I don't. There's no
Yep.
takeaway, right? So there's a problem, and you are the solution, or your transformation, your 3-step process, whatever like that, is the solution. Um, Things that we're always looking for are testimonials, text testimonials, video testimonials, a range of scenarios of like different shots of things. So this could even be stuff of you just holding a microphone in a
Yep.
studio. I went and bought a $27 microphone off Amazon. I'll never use it as a real microphone. I just use it as a prop, right? So I'm just holding it sometimes, and I've got that. Nobody knows where you are, and that's fine. Like it doesn't matter. Like what we're trying to do is create demonstrate that I'm a speaker, right? So you go do that. Don't be afraid to rent a studio, like I said, to go and do some recordings, get some headshots, and like reinvest in yourself. Like
Yeah.
go look like you are ready to go and get up on stage and go do that. Something called B-roll in the industry. So if you are if you're going to go speak at an event, even if it is just a lunch and learn, make sure whoever you're bringing in to record you. And by the way, it shouldn't be your cousin with an iPhone. It should be someone with a real camera and stuff like that. So yeah, go and spend $500. There's lots of people who are new videographers who would be really they just got equipment, and that's all you kind of need at the beginning. Have a lapel mic, right? Something that clips onto you so that you've got the extra audio footage, things like that. And just have them follow you around, shaking hands, answering questions. That's all like just good filler material for the demo reel as well. And logos, if you have them, should be in the demo reel as well. And keep it under 3 minutes.
Under
Keep it under
3.
3 minutes. Under 3 minutes. So we're aiming for 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes over, sometimes less, depending on how much experience a speaker has. And that's it. And by the way, that if you hire someone to video you for an entire, like, think of all the extra content footage you're going to get as well, right?
Right.
You're going to be able to put that on social media, and it's going to look like $1 million because you got someone with a 4K camera who can kind of keep you in the center of frame for 45 minutes. Amazing. Like you're going to get
Right.
some good footage out of that. And yeah, your total investment is $500. Like, it's like, who
Yeah.
cares? Just, you got to go do it. Like, you got to go do it. Invest in
So
yourself.
then you talked about earlier that 10,000 plus speaker.
Yep.
So you're the 10,000 plus speaker and you want event managers to think twice about your demo reel. Like you really should be investing in your demo reel then, right? Like,
Yeah.
we talked about some of the things if this is the first time you're starting, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're at that level, then, the professionalism really does come through. Is that a correct statement? Is that what they're looking for, something that, is that notch above?
Yeah. So the general rule of thumb is you should spend one talks speaking fee on your demo reel, and that's
Mm.
not for me, but I sure like touting it. But that's not for me. That's like industry standard is like that. So if you're at the 10,000 range, you should be looking in and around $10,000 for a demo reel, and that's just because it's like at that level. So things shift. So this is a realization that I've had recently. So maybe some insights for you or for your audience as well, is that like there seems to be this mental shift at $10,000, because then all of a sudden you're no longer speaking to the director of marketing for a medium-sized business who like is limited by, but like, you're not talking with that kind of decision maker. You're all of a sudden speaking to like event planners. You're speaking to event coordinators at Coca-Cola, just use that as an example too.
Yep.
Or you're speaking to like a national conference director. Like, it's the types of people you're speaking to who want to hire you has changed. The caliber of people who you're up against have changed. So all of a sudden, you're not just up against Sally, who also spoke at the HR conference in your local town. You're up against Sally Jean Ray, who is the HR person for some big startup company that went public, and she was able to change company. Like, they have a title, they have success, and so do you. So you have to start to play at that level as well. It's like when you go to university, right? And all of a sudden, like, you were the smartest in class, and all of a sudden, like, everyone around you is just as smart as you, because you've filtered up to that level, and everyone's nerd about biology or what have you as well at that level. And so you're playing a different game at that point. So you got to start thinking about how you're presenting yourself. Now, just want to talk. You could also be up against the 3 A's. It's athletes, actors, and shoot, and astronauts. That's the 3 A's. Athletes, actors, astronauts. They've already got clout. They've already got notoriety. They've already got publicity that's happened to them because they went to freaking space, right?
Yep.
That's who you may be up against. So if you're not ready to show, like, yeah, you've got an athlete here who won the Super Bowl, and they were maybe not like I don't, actually, I'm a terrible sports reference, but I don't know sports at all. But like they may not have been the quarterback, right? But there's someone who played as well. Okay, that's about
Yeah.
as much as I know about sports. But if you're up against them, how are you going to stand apart? Like they may be able to inspire your audience from the sports point of view, but I've helped sales teams move from like triple their sales because of my inspiration. So, which would you rather? And you just got to
Right.
leave it hanging at that, right? Like, and then it's up to the event organizer to be like, dang, there's someone here, I got an NFL player or this other person who's going to inspire my audience. Like now that's what you want to be. You want to like be up at that. You want to play up at that level.
Wow, man, that's so good. Let me ask you one last question. We're rounding the corner here. So for the leaders who are going, okay, I want to make this jump to video. Any quick actionable steps that just help them be more comfortable on video? Because some people, we've all been there. We get in front of a
Yep.
camera and we're like, what do I do?
Right, right. Go to scripting. I still script every single one of my videos that I do. Okay, so I never wing it, and that helps me a ton. You can download an app on your phone. Let me just get the name of it. It's like teleprompter, right? And so I'm literally reading off my phone, and I've gotten better at it because
Yep.
over time the reps and things like that. And I now have it like I give it my editor, and he edits it out. So the first time you do it, it's going to feel super awkward, but you script out what you want to read and then you read it and then you post it. Okay. Like this is just what you got to do to get in. Then you're going to move away from scripting, looking at your camera. You're going to flip your camera from this side to this side, right? And you're going to use the nice back cameras and you're going to have a script on your computer and you're going to say, okay, so here are 3 things that people miss in their demo reel. Okay. Here are 3 things that people miss in every single demo reel. Well, I don't like how that sounded. Okay. So here are, here are 3 common mistakes in my demo. Okay, there's a good one. Okay, here are 3 common mistakes that all speakers make in the demo reel and how you can avoid it. Like that only comes with time that you can start to rattle off good
Yep.
hooks and you move forward there. So script it. Like just get comfortable with scripting, and you should spend just as much time scripting as you do actually recording. So like I can now script a decent video in about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and like people don't understand the time it takes to do something good. Now, this is not to dissuade anyone. I don't want to freak anyone out.
Yeah.
When you want to play at the higher level, it's like a video takes me 3 hours to do. So it's not just hey friends, like I'm not making a lifestyle channel. I'm making a solutions channel because I want to drive business through social media, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's what every speaker wants to do as well. They want to drive gigs. So if you're just talking about your, what you ate, what kind of hot dog you ate over the weekend, like that's not driving business. So it's like, again, going back to what do you speak about? What's the problem you solve? How do you solve it for people? Use audience, and you can never give away too much because no one's learning an entire masterclass in 30 seconds. So
Wow.
just get out there and do it.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Boy, powerful. I mean, you've given us like reel after reel after reel. Uh, so many great insights. Before I let you go, we're building this online communication library. We ask all our guests these questions so our listeners can go and find new resources to look at. So we talk about speaking a lot. This is going to put you in a tough spot, but do you have a speaker for you personally that is just they fill your cup every time you listen to them? You're just, they're top of the list. You love to tell other people you got to go listen to them.
Russell Brunson, he's just so great at what he does, and he talks about personal stuff. He talks a little about marketing. Like the wealth of knowledge that he has is like he's forgotten more things than I feel I'll ever learn about marketing. So I get a
Yeah.
lot from him, and I got to give the cliche Tony Robbins because I just saw him on the weekend live, and it's like, oh my god, like the guy can still rock a room. So yeah, I know if those are cliche, but they are who are top of mind right now.
Yeah, I love it. If you're a podcast listener, if you're not, no worries. But if you are, is there a guilty pleasure or a development one that you just keep going back to and you love to recommend?
Oh, okay. So I got 2 right now. So number 1, I love The Game by Alex Hormozy. Actually, I'm a huge podcast listener. So how many can I give you?
Couple would be great.
All right, all right. So The Game is excellent. You're just going to learn so much about business in there, and that's really shifted my mind from a lot of things. Made me unlearn things from working in corporate for so long. So that's number 1. Number 2, Diary of a CEO. I always get
Oh
some
yeah.
good insights. I'm always okay also dropping some of those episodes, so I never feel guilty if I'm like, nope, not interested. But then he'll talk for 2 hours to like Mr. Beast. Right now, I'm listening. They just dropped it this morning, and I
Right.
can't, I can't stop listening to it because you know Jimmy, I can't remember his last name, Jimmy the Mr. Beast. Like he, the guy's obsessed. He's obsessed with YouTube, and like you got to get obsessed over the topics that you want to talk about. It's
Yep.
wild. So he's a good one. And for anyone who has a family out there, and you want to get your kids into podcasts, my son and I, he's 10, we just started listening to this podcast called The Unexplained Disappearance of Mars Patel. And it's like an action adventure mystery for kids. It's designed
Huh.
for kids. And it- we love it. Like we're both like raptured by this storyline that's happening, and there's now 3 seasons of it too, so we've got content for a couple of weeks at least. So the unexplainable disappearance of Mars Patel,
Wow.
great mini series for kids. So there's that.
I love it. And then lastly, is there a book that you would recommend? Go into a desert island, make sure you have this book.
Are you kidding me? I've got like books like galore here. Probably the one I reference the most is Building a Story Brand
Oh yeah.
by Don Miller. I cannot recommend this book enough. Like it's highlighted all throughout. I reference it all the time. It's
Have you gotten 2.0 yet? Have you gone through that one yet?
No, I freaking bought this, and then like months later, he dropped 2.0,
Yeah.
and then I also signed up for his course online, and then he dropped 2.0. So I know I'm gonna get it, but just not yet. No. Do you have it?
His the Business Made Simple university or library or whatever they have it with all their courses. It's a pretty phenomenal thing. It's like
So
I think
good.
it's under $300 or something, and you get access
Yep.
to it's
$299 a year. $299 a year.
Yeah.
It's an ridiculous offer, and I go back to it. I go back to what I did there, and I'm just about to go and do it again because I did it 6 months ago in August. And it's like it's time for a review. It's time to go do it again and see if my things have changed. Because over time that changes.
It's amazing. We haven't had Donald on the podcast, but we've had Dr. JJ, and he was mind blowing when it came
Amazing.
around story
So
and all
good.
that kind of stuff. Well, this has been an unbelievable interview and episode. You've given us so much gold. You've opened up your vault, and we're so appreciative of it. Where can we find out more about you? Where can we go find you online? What's the best place to send our listeners?
LinkedIn is probably the best, but I do get inundated with messages there, just by nature of that's my biggest platform. I'm growing on Instagram as well, so both are at The Frequent Speaker or Cam Beaudoin. I'm sure they can find that there. Also, thefrequentspeaker.com is the website, and I've created a link here. So thefrequentspeaker.com/speak with people. If you go there, I've got a bunch of resources available to anyone who's listening to, which is my blueprint on how to create demo reels, as well as got a couple of things there, things to avoid when creating a demo reel too. Just got a bunch of resources there. Just put your name and email, and I'll send them to you as well.
Cam, this was amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your generosity, and thank you for your voice into my life as a speaker and leader. It's been absolutely huge. So appreciate it.
Anytime. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Speak with People podcast. It means the world to us when you share this episode. Thanks for liking, subscribing, or following the podcast. That really does help the podcast get into more ears and into more leaders listening. Also, don't forget, we have 2 exciting resources for you. The first is go to Facebook and join the Speakers Group. This is a community designed for leaders who want to grow their communication skills. Also, go to speakwithpeople.com/skills library to access the Communication Skills Library. It is an online resource chock filled with resources that will inspire you and transform you and grow your communication skills. Thanks again for being a part of the listening community. We cannot wait for the next episode.